So Carmine, first topic.
So EA actually had an investor call last week. News broke, I think, actually after we actually recorded our last podcast, either a day or two after.
Yes.
So we're a little bit late to the party, but it's something that I think is worth talking about. So they pretty much, in the investor call, they pretty much put Mass Effect, the franchise, on hiatus. They're going to be putting it away for a little bit. They're not going to be having any new games. They're actually downsizing BioWare Montreal. They're going to downsize that. They're moving some of that staff supposedly to Motive. And that comes from a report of what Jason Schreier actually reported at Kotaku. Either moments after or as the investor call was actually going on, he was getting that information and actually sharing to all of us about it. Mm-hmm. So this is really, really surprising because this franchise, a lot of people thought would probably go on for, iteration after iteration after iteration. And now one poor launch or one poor issue after issue after issue with the game development and the post-release, we are now looking at a franchise that pretty much had a lot to do with the reason why EA bought into BioWare and bought that development team. And now that franchise is going to go away for a little while. Mm-hmm. Very, very surprising, and it brings up a lot of different questions. So I guess the first topic is pretty much what do publishers, what do developers, where do they have to meet in the middle, and where do they have to go in order to actually try and make this not an ongoing thing? What do they have to do to fix situations like this?
Well, it's hard being a franchise because, my solution for a lot of these problems is, the problems are they're not getting enough time to finish these games, but the problem is they're announcing these games too early, and there's this whole time that people are waiting for these games, and the publishers are pushing to get the developers to release this thing, and when it's not done, you're going to get things like this. You'll have that one big day one patch that's supposed to fix everything. This never had a day one patch. It was just something that...
Oh, no, I think they got a day one patch, but it didn't fix anything.
Well,
that's what the problem was. It didn't fix the animations.
Right. The animation was like a couple weeks after.
Yeah, well, that was a problem. And then they finally kind of did the little polish that they wanted to.
Yeah, and they started getting it better. There's still evidently... Even now, there's still a lot of problems that... I guess what's ever left over from EA Montreal... I'm sorry, I keep saying EA Montreal. BioWare Montreal is still working on to try and fix... But yeah, no, I mean, at the end of the day, you only get a certain amount of time before people start kind of moving away from the actual game. And I guess they met that point pretty quickly if they're talking about this on their investor call.
Right. I mean, Jonah, what do you think of this?
I think they got to work on how they promote their games. Like, we didn't see anything from the Mass Effect Andromeda until, like, close to launch. And by then, the expectations were really high. Mm-hmm. So I think if we were given some things to look forward to, to look at, leading up to that, we would have seen where it was, given them feedback, like, this sucks, do something about it.
Yeah,
they might have worked on it, maybe not, but we would have known what's coming up.
Yeah, because if you look at like where the actual first gameplay footage actually came from, it was actually at the PlayStation Pro reveal.
Right.
That was it, and all it was pretty much them jumping around in a jetpack. I don't think there was any kind of fighting or anything that went on. It was just like, oh my goodness, this all looks like it's all pretty in 4K, which you can't see unless you're looking at a 4K monitor.
It was showing that you could. It was showing that you could jump in the game.
Yeah, exactly. Ooh, and they kept selling that too. We talked about that.
But yeah, it's a big thing that a lot of these developers and publishers have to meet eye to eye is you have to release a finished game.
Yeah,
you have to release a game within months to 1 year, most, of announcing a game.
Yeah.
Like, most.
Yeah.
And now, with Mass Effect being the franchise that it is, I'm surprised they didn't go the Halo route, where it's like, okay, we'll have, just say, Mass Effect Wars or something smaller, kind of fill the gaps, and then you release the big, or have the big reveal of a bigger game.
Yeah.
Something that could kind of bring the franchise back to its whatever. I mean, even though Shepard wasn't in this one, but they could have, but they didn't.
Yeah, I'd have liked that they had like a little spin-off, and then at the end of the game, there's like a secret ending where it just promotes a new Mass Effect game, and that's the big next generation Mass Effect.
But I mean, what do you think, Carmine?
I think too. I mean, it could have gone a couple of different ways, and I'll get to like what I think they need to do to bring it back on track. But you know what I would have actually liked in like retrospect. They really wanted to go and make this Andromeda like a distant future, completely different story in a completely different universe with characters you never heard of. Looking back on it now, I kind of almost wish they just did a prequel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because a lot of these alien races live for a long time, so you could have actually tied in a lot of characters that you know and you loved and brought it into a separate story potentially prior to what was going on with Shepard.
They'll call it smaller Mass Effect.
And when they first announced Andromeda, I remember thinking this to myself. I was like, all right, I hope it's a prequel, and I hope at the end of that prequel, you actually run into Shepard somehow. Like on a vast battlefield.
At a bar.
Not at a bar. I mean, maybe at a bar. But like on a mass battlefield where a bunch of stuff's going on, and then all you see is Shepard just roll in like a badass like he is, and just start like wrecking stuff. And then his helmet comes off, and you know he introduces himself as Shepard. I would have loved that a lot more than probably doing the separate story, distant galaxy, completely new characters, and evidently they're nothing really to get excited about.
Yeah, I've seen some of the cutscenes for the new protagonist.
Yeah,
not that interesting.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I mean, Shepard and even FemShep, awesome characters, awesome protagonists. You know what I mean? The voice actors, everything about them, really hit home and built this great universe that should still be at the pinnacle or top of franchises and video games, and now it's fallen off.
Yeah.
So I think like if I'm looking at it now, I kind of wish they went back, kept it in the same universe, kept it in the same timeline, but done it as a prequel.
Yeah.
Or maybe even Jonah, did you play Mass Effect 1?
Yes.
I can't think of his name right now. Saren. The main bad guy in the first one.
I don't remember.
All right, I'm pretty sure it's Sauron. Yeah.
Sauron.
Yeah. What it is? I'm sorry.
That guy.
That guy. See, even looking at that, like how cool would that have been if it was like his story leading up to the events of Mass Effect 1?
Mm-hmm. Like he would be the protagonist?
Yeah, he would be the protagonist. Like, I feel like they could have just kept with that story and created characters and be involved with characters that we already know. And I think them going so far away from that center point is probably what kind of had people fall off. Not just from a mechanical level or tech level of all the problems that it had, but just like the story and the characters as well.
Yeah.
I think that if they stayed a little bit closer to home with the characters that we knew, the timeline that we knew, and the events of what was going on previously to the Mass Effect series, I think it would have done a lot better. And a lot of people might have just, forgiven some of those issues.
Mm-hmm.
Be like, all right, patch it and I'll play it when it's out. I just think that people lost interest so quickly because of all the bad press and being a different story, not knowing where it's going to go. And like for me and myself, and we talked about this, is I'm not going to invest in my time in Andromeda because it's probably the character's storyline is probably never going to be seen of again because of the poor reception that it had.
Yeah, and unfortunately in today's day of age with technology, you get someone has their hands on it within 2 minutes. There's already gameplay footage on the computer, on Twitch, whatever.
Exactly. Media, Facebook, put up a meme, whatever faces that they were making.
I mean, a lot of people's perceptions of a game is only 30 seconds of someone else's gameplay and with like some sort of tagline on it. But like, hey, this is what this game's about. It could either show a glitch or something like that, and you're either going to be like, wow, that looks awesome, I'm going to get it. Or you're like, well, I'm not getting that.
Yeah, and you're only going to be able to ever see that like in your head. Like you're going to remember that before you pick it up.
Yeah, exactly.
All of that stuff.
And like you just said, you nailed it right on the head. Are you going to invest all this time in
40 hours, 50 hours?
Yeah. Plus for this, it's just like, I mean, for instance, I never played Mass Effect 3 because same reason. Why would I want to invest this whole time to have from what I understand, a crappy ending?
Yeah. And it's a crappy ending if you do not adopt the indoctrination theory. I am a firm believer of the indoctrination theory, and here's my spiel with this. And like I said, I've mentioned this before. So, in order for them to fix it, it's either got to do the prequel thing, I think, like I was talking about, or they do a proper Mass Effect 4, and they utilize the indoctrination theory. Plenty of YouTube videos are out there right now about the indoctrination theory, saying that Shepard was indoctrinated for most of the third game. He was becoming delusional. The entire ending has different cutscenes and elements to actually kind of prove that that's what was going on at the end of the game, and that's why it was such generic endings. Mm-hmm. And one of the endings is if you do the Renegade ending and you destroy, like, I think it's if you destroy all the AI, like, you actually have a cutscene at the end where you see his chest take a breath. And that's supposed to signify, or at least that's what we think, that it's supposed to signify that Shepard's actually still alive. Mm-hmm. And you see where the rubble is and everything else like that, and he's on Earth. Which means that he could have imagined the entire ending of Mass Effect 3. So if they adopt that indoctrination theory, they can continue on with the story, bring all the characters back, and make it an amazing game once again. And that's my theory about how they're going to fix it. Or they should fix it. Do it!
Can't believe they went with it was a dream the whole time.
I'm fine with it. I mean, if it fixes it and you get Shepard back and all the characters and you're still in the middle of the war with the Reapers,
and
do you know what that means, Jonah? That's exciting.
Yeah, I would prefer a game with the characters that I actually like.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I wouldn't buy Andromeda later on. Not
Stop
right
it,
now.
You're not going to.
I'm not
Don't
going to.
Don't lie to them.
I will. But I would prefer playing something that is actually interesting.
Yeah.
Because the
like
Ryder, I think, is the protagonist, right?
Yeah.
Garbage man. He's a garbage man.
Yeah, they're twins.
Garbage man and girl. So just... And I don't think they're not going to make another game in this series or this universe. Maybe not with the same protagonist.
I don't think it's going to be Andromeda. Like, it's not... I feel like they're going to go back to the core.
Well, maybe next game they'll go back to the core,
Yeah.
but Andromeda, I think, is going to have something later on.
I don't know.
They put too much time and effort.
I really think they're going to put it on
universe.
hiatus. If they're downsizing the studio, I don't think we see like the Andromeda crew. Maybe in passing.
Yeah, but it'll come back. Not soon.
I don't know. I don't know.
That's my
We'll
prediction.
see what happens.
So, final thoughts on this whole Mass Effect.
Just and you know, we kind of harp on games about you know, being finished before they come out, and it's something that is becoming more and more true as we're looking at different games. And I think we're slowly starting to get there. Like I said, I still think what Fallout 4 did, even though that game was, a lot of people said it was kind of similar to Fallout 3, it wasn't anything that was like revolutionary. But the way that they brought it out 6 months beforehand, announced all the stuff, the game was probably complete before they even got up on stage.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? They were probably just bug fixing at that time. That is what you need.
Yeah. I agree with that. Have like I said, announce a game.
Have it be done before you even start. Like not maybe not done, but at least in beta stage before you even announce it.
Within 6 months, have it released.
Yeah.
You want any more than that, and then it's just
we know that something's up.
Yeah, something's up, and it's just starts getting old. I mean, you got to think too. You're making this game while like 5 other awesome games are going to be coming out in between that. So it's like, and sometimes right on when you expect to release it.
Yeah,
you just want to have the hype there. You want the game done. Make it old school. Bring back old school. Complete a game before you release it. How hard is that?
Yeah, well,
make it 16-bit.
You look at
make it's easier.
You look at what quality assurance does for like games like Nintendo, where their games come out and they are not broken.
They're done.
They're done. They're complete.
Like
they're
their quality is questionable, but it's always polished.
Well, the thing is, like Zelda had a couple issues that they fixed, I guess, pretty early on, but it was like minor issues.
Right.
And they took the time, and Zelda got delayed a bunch. You know what I mean? Before the game actually came out. But Nintendo's not afraid to delay a game for quality.
Yeah.
And then a lot of publishers need to start taking that into consideration, or you're going to start having these big franchises go by the wayside, and you're going to have to put them again like on hiatus for a period of time and really think about how you're going to re-release these.
Yeah. So, but guys, what do you think? Let us know down in the comments.